Hey guys, last time we learned how the sum method checks if at least one item in an array matches a condition. Today we flip that around with the every method that checks if all items pass a test. So what is the every method? The every method runs a test on each item in an array. If every item passes, it returns true. If any item fails, it returns false and it stops checking. Let's explore how it works. So here's the basic syntax of the every method. So we want the array, then using dot notation, we access the every method, and here we pass a function, then the item parameter, then between curly brackets, we want to return a condition. So it's pretty much the same as we've done for the sum method. So basically, you provide a function that returns true or false for each item, and the every method returns true only if they all pass. So let's comment this out and have a look at an example where we want to check if all numbers in an array are greater than 0. So we start by declaring a variable, let's scores, and then assign it the following numbers: 90, 75, 88, and 100. Then we declare another variable, for example, all above 0. So these would be all the numbers above 0. Then we start with the scores array, and then using dot notation, we want to access the every method, then open parentheses. And here what we actually want to check is that if each score within the scores array is greater than 0. So the way we do that, using arrow function like we covered in the previous episode. So we start with score, then arrow function, and then here we want the condition or the criteria. Okay, so now if we console log all above 0, we're gonna get true. Okay, so let's explain here again what's happening. So with the every method, what we're doing is we're looking at each score in the array, and every time we're checking if that score is greater than 0 or not. So 90 is greater than 0, also 75, 88, and 100. And because all of them are greater than 0, we get true. So in other words, we're checking if every score is positive. And that's why we have the method called every. If any score were 0 or negative, this would return false. So for instance, let's change this to 0. See, now we're getting false here, because not every score in the scores array is positive. So we ended up with false. Equally, if we have a negative number like -10, we will also end up with false. So 0 or negative will return false in this case, because not every score in the scores array is greater than 0 or otherwise positive. So let's comment these out now to clear the console and look at a real-world example to check if all products are in stock. So to save some time, I created the products variable and assigned it the following array, which contains 3 objects or 3 products. So now what we want to do is declare a variable, call it all available, then assign it. First we need to access the array, so products, then the every method using dot notation, and here we need an arrow function. So what we need to check if the product, using the arrow function here, is in stock. So this is going to check for each one of those if in stock is true or false. And if it's true, it's gonna console log true. So let's do that. So as you can see here, we have true in the console. So again here, we access the products array we attached to it the every method, and we checked if each product in the array is in stock. So product.inStock means here true. So in the first check we have true, and the second check we have true, and in the last check we have true. So we ended up with true. So if we change that now, or one of them, to false, we will now end up with false in the console. So let's compare now the sum method with the every method. The sum method checks if any item passes, while the every method checks if all items pass. So with the sum method, we could have an example of, or ask a question, is at least one product missing? While with the every method, we could ask the following question, are all products available? So let's now move to the last item in this episode, which is the practice exercise as usual. So I would like you to, 1, create an array of 5 temperatures as numbers. Use the every method to check if they're all above freezing or above 0 degrees Celsius. Then console log, all temperatures are above freezing or some temperatures are freezing or below. So pause the video now, have a go at it, and come back for the solution. Okay, so let's see how we could solve this. So let's declare a variable called temps for temperatures, and then assign it an array with the following temperatures: 5, 12, 7, 3, and 9. Then we declare another variable, all above freezing, and then we assign it, we want the array temps, then with the every method, we open parentheses, and what we want here is the temperature. So you can go like this, temp or T. So I can do like this, and then T has to be greater than 0 in this case. Then we use an if statement. If all above freezing, then do something, and what we want to do here, we want to console log. Okay, so we can just copy this. So we want this string here. Okay, else we want to console log, okay, the other string. So we can just get it like this. So as you can see now, we have all temperatures above freezing. That's because we have 5, 12, 7, 3, and 9. But if we were to change this to -9 or -9, then now we have some temperatures are freezing or below. Nice work, guys. Now you know how to use the every method in JavaScript to validate that all items in an array match a condition, which is super useful for forms, filters, and logic checks. In the next episode, we'll explore the filter method that builds a brand new array based on the items that pass your condition. Don't forget to subscribe and hit like if this helped, and keep building your skills. See you in the next one.